John Gill's exposition of the entire Bible verse by verse. Psalms chapter 91, verse 1. Scripture quote, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High," unquote. John Gill quote, "or the Supreme, a title of God, who is superior to all beings, the creator and preserver of them, God over all, higher than the highest of angels or men." See Genesis chapter 14, verse 22. Quote, "His secret place," unquote, is his heart, his bosom, where his only begotten Son lies, and into which he takes his people, where they are set as a seal, and to enjoy intimate communion with him, which is no other than his precious presence, called, quote, "the secret of his presence," unquote. Psalms 31, verse 20. Which none but saints are admitted to when his everlasting love, which was a secret in his heart, is made known unto them, and in which they also dwell. 1 John chapter 4, verse 16. As they likewise do in the eternal decree of election, which perhaps is meant by, quote, "the clefts of the rock and secret places of the stairs," unquote, where the church is said to dwell. Songs of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 14. Unless rather Christ the rock, in whom may be signified by the cleft of that Moses was put into, when the goodness of the Lord passed before him, is intended, and who is the hiding place from the wind. Mention is made of, quote, "the secret," unquote, of God's tabernacle, Psalms 27, verse 5, in which he hides his people, alluring to the tabernacle or temple, and the most holy place in it, called the secret place. Ezekiel 7, verse 22. It may refer to the ministry of the word in ordinances, where saints dwell and enjoy much communion with God, and who are particularly under his special providency, protection, and power, which may here be designed, unquote. Scripture quote, "shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty," unquote. John Gill quote, "who is able to do all things for his people, and is SHADDAI, all sufficient," as this word is thought to signify, has a sufficiency of happiness in and for himself, and of provisions for all his creatures, and of power and grace for his own children. His, quote, "shadow," unquote, may be the same with his secret place, his power and protection, often in this book of Psalms called, quote, "the shadow of wings," unquote. Psalms chapter 17, verse 8. An allusion to birds that overshadow and protect their young with their wings, though perhaps the allusion here may be to the shadow of a tree, and design the word and ordinances of the Lord's house, which are delightful, refreshing, reviving, and fruitful shadows. Solomon chapter 2, verse 3. Song of Solomon. Where gracious souls dwell and abide with great delight and pleasure. Christ, the Son of God, is sometimes compared to the shadow of a rock or tree, which screens and shelters from heat, as he preserves his people from the heat of a fierce law, the flaming sword of justice, the wrath of God, the fierce darts of Satan, and the fury of persecutors. Under the shadow do they abide or lodge all night, safe and secure, as the word signifies. The Targum calls this shadow the shadow of the clouds of glory. The Arabic version, quote, "the shadow of the God of heaven," unquote. End of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 1.